I want to make a more extended response to a piece of that last video. The part about women being physically weaker than men. So we already know that everyone is equal. It's just that we are equal in different roles. And whereas the average man is stronger than the average woman is smarter than the average man. And there's a huge ignoring of the fact that strength is something that can be gained and lost, and a military woman is going to be stronger than the average man. Just like a woman who participates in any other physical sport, like boxing or tennis or anything, is going to be stronger than a man who doesn't. The idea is that they want women to get drafted so there's an equal opportunity for just as many women as there are as many men to die on the front line. But they're not thinking about all of the people who don't die on the front line and come back, and they're a bunch of strong and smart women that will fucking beat them up. Imagine for me, if you will, the actual reality of the situation where most people don't die on the front lines, and now we have more military trained women just walking around with or without PTSD, but going about their normal lives, like going to clubs, going to gas stations, just going about their regular non-military business. And men, in all of their they don't know how afraid of women they should be glory, decides to mess with one of these women who now any given woman has more of a chance of having military training. Because let's say that they didn't draft dodge, let's say that they didn't do the prison sentence, let's say that they went out and got on the front line and like now they're back. Now people are used to this nice docile image of women that like they're either chatting you up for fun or most of the time the reality is they're chatting you up so you don't commit a hate crime against them. But what about women who know that they can just fucking snap your neck? Women who can meet you where you're at physically, since the physical attributes is what you care about, are going to be way less tolerant of harass and abuse. And they will just meet you where you're at with handling your physical issues physically. It's not just about the woman being physically stronger and having more formal training at hand-to-hand combat and weaponry combat. It's also about her being willing to implement those things. And let's say that this woman comes back just as bad as the average man is, basically. Like, she's ready to twist your arm the second you try to reach it out to, like, grab her or touch her without her permission in any kind of way. Men can't imagine a world where women are less polite and less fearful of violence against them. But they will be living in it if more women go to the military and successfully come back, mostly unscathed. Well, first and foremost, a lot of men don't want to confront the matter is that women are being nice to be able to avoid harm. But like, when you can meet the other party where they're at in terms of like harm, the world's going to be different. And honestly, I want that world. I don't want it to come by way of getting a draft. I don't think anyone should be drafted, especially since we have technology to like, we can control things from home. We don't need foot soldiers. We don't need foot soldiers anymore. That's why nobody should be drafted. It has nothing to do with gender. It's all about economics, actually. But we're still going to use foot soldiers. But, yeah, like, you don't want to acknowledge that we even live in a world like dominated and a lot of people's actions are considering violence. But when violence isn't considered and people get to be who they actually are and they don't tolerate your BS, that's the world that we're going to live in. And those women are going to teach other women what they've learned. So we'll just have a whole bunch of like physically, mentally trained women not taking BS from men, and it'll be great, and men will hate it, and the world will be as it should.